Okay, hold on a second. Floatplane chat is not pleased. Frey says It Takes Two was an amazing game. Nightpaws says It Takes Two is a fantastic game, to be fair. All right, one moment, please. It Takes Two is a beautiful game. The environments, the creativity that went into it are just outstanding. But the story, oh man. Spoiler alert, okay? You just keep chasing the MacGuffin constantly. It's just, you have not come far enough yet. I don't know what his accent is. I forget. But have you played it?
No, not yet. We're going to, but not yet.
Really? Okay. So here's the problem with it.
I own it, and I've been waiting, but anyways, yeah.
Here's the problem with It Takes Two, is that if you are a non-gamer, the puzzles and the level design are probably pretty creative and or maybe even a little bit challenging. But for me, as like someone who's been playing video games since I was 7 or whatever, sitting on the couch next to my wife, it's a little hard to stay engaged. Nightpaws, I am not at the end yet either. I have gotten extremely tired of collecting pages or collecting whatevers, and because it's all just an excuse to, the character development pacing is so bad. Like, because they have to be, okay, again, I said spoiler alert, so I can talk about it. So you've got this couple that they're about to get divorced, and their child is sad and wants them to get together. And first of all, as a child of divorced parents, I think that any kind of narrative that somehow puts the responsibility on the child to do anything, get their parents together, take responsibility for splitting them up, whatever it is I thought it was stupid. It was just stupid. Two adults who can't stand each other should not get back together because the child is sad, because a toxic environment, quite frankly, is probably not any better.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of sort of, I got baggage. Okay. I got baggage. Anyway, they start out kind of being sick of each other's BS. She works all the time, and I don't know, I forget what his sin is. He doesn't help out enough or something. I can't remember. But the point is that the kid is super sad, and so there's this supernatural intervention that takes place where the two parents are turned into these little doll representations of the little kids' toys, and they have to go through this journey of reconciliation with each other, where they learn to work together and they learn to cooperate and build each other's relationship, or build their relationship back up. And because you need to see that development, like that character development, as you go through each challenge, they learn to trust each other a little again,
Sure,
and they rediscover his passion for gardening.
Please tell me there's a meter. Does the trust meter go up?
Is
there
a
trust meter?
No.
Dang.
Or they
All right.
appreciate that she really does work really hard, and that's her love language, or whatever it is.
Sure.
And they make this progress, and then they dump you back to this NPC who guides you through the process, and they immediately are back to full on can't stand each other again. And then it resets, and then they reconcile a bit again, and then immediately they're back to full on can't stand each other again. So it's this the game can't decide how long it was supposed to be. And in my opinion, this is probably the only time as a gamer ever where I've looked at a game and I've gone, they had too much budget. You know what I mean? You know how often it happens where you'll reach the last third of a game, you'll be like, oh, they ran out of time. Or they ran out of budget.
Yes, that's definitely happened a lot.
Whereas I think It Takes Two could have been an outstanding 6 to 8 hour gaming experience.
Right.
Jam-packed. Like a Portal-like experience.
Ubisoft has that issue right now with all their games.
But we've sat down. I mean, I'd have to check. I actually don't know if Origin has a log for how many hours you've put into a game. I'm not 100% sure how I'd even check it. But we have put more than that in, and we're not done yet. And oh yeah, right. So JR6955 says this seems like a couples therapy game. So that's the other issue, is it's so repetitive because the lessons are always the same lesson. Work together. Yeah, I got it. It's in the title of the f***ing game. I know, right? So give me some new character development. My main problem with the game is
They should have a sequel where they decide to break up.
It takes only one. Or they could have a polyamorous sequel.
It takes many.
It takes 3 or more.
Oh man.
So my issue is that while it's a
MMO.
beautiful game and it ran flawlessly, I didn't have any technical bugs with it, and I thought the voice acting was pretty solid, like overall solid. It has a terrible story. It has a terrible story. It has a basically non-existent story. It falls into that trap of storytelling that goes, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. It's like, right, but what are the consequences? What's the outcome? Where's the but then? But then there was this crazy thing. No, it just is always the same thing.
Yeah.
You always do what the guy told you to do, and you work together, and each stage is like probably anywhere from half an hour to 90 minutes of gameplay, and you get through it, and it's like, you need to work together some more! And you're like, well, could we have worked together enough to do something, and maybe the daughter does more than, go around and see her sad mom sleeping on the couch or whatever and look like a creepy, uncanny valley. Wow, how does she look so weird character? Knock23 says, the game isn't aimed at Linus. The story follows a lot like a previous relationship I had. Well, I mean, it's not that I can't relate. I mean, Yvonne and I have been together 15 years. You think we never fought about anything? You think we haven't drifted farther and drifted
Also,
closer? And
child of divorce, and we've actually had a lot of comments come in and saying, like, as a child of divorce, this game just kind of pissed me off.
So,
I don't know. My parents are still chilling.
Yeah, you know what? This is pretty good. JR6955 says it's, well, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but it's like it constantly teases you, but you never finish, So I haven't finished the game. I never finished the game. Get your mind out of the gutter, Luke. Mind out of the gutter. Mind out of the gutter.
I mean, that could maybe that has to be one of the storylines. It's a problem. Anyways.
True Scott says he hasn't reached the bring back the spark in your relationship part yet. That's the whole part. That's the whole thing. It's just the same thing over and over and over again.
Is the multiplayer good to bring it all the way back to the award?
Yes.
Okay.
The co-opness is good. Jake's been in the chat. He's like, yeah, I played it for half an hour with the GF. They should have had difficulty tiers. It was way too easy for pretty much anyone that games. Like, again, I can enjoy it from my wife is having fun and I'm spending time with her kind of perspective. But the thing is that even though she's certainly not a hardcore gamer, she's absolutely capable of playing hardcore games.
Yeah.
Like, she can play Left 4 Dead, Team Fortress 2. Like, we could sit and play an actual game together.
Very divisive and Overcooked. Which, like, sure, it's a game about cooking, but it's also, like, still a gamer game.
You said divisive. I think you meant decisive.
Decisive, sure.
Okay. You meant that she causes divisions on the team, or?
I don't think that's what divisive means.
Yeah, it does. Okay. I think you meant good at delegating or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. To be clear, I mean, if you think she's divisive, that's fine. I just really don't think that was what you meant. Like causing rifts.
Disagreements? No, yeah, that's not
Yeah,
what I meant.
okay, cool. So yeah, she can play games that actually require skill, but because she hasn't played a lot of adventure games, she's still like enjoying the puzzles, whereas I walk into a room or a boss battle and I see the glaring weak point and the the obvious sort of, mechanism for it. I'm like, oh, okay, this. Right.
Yeah. Look for the glowing thing. A game that I think did that, and I've talked about it a million times, but Titanfall 2, the storyline is honestly really short.
I still need to play it.
But they never overuse any mechanics. There's a few times where I'm like, man, like I really wish I had that for longer. But then at the same time, if I had it for too long, I probably wouldn't think the mechanic was as cool.
It Takes Two actually does that really well as well.
Okay.
So each of the new stages issues you new gameplay mechanics that you then use to solve
boring,
problems.
So they're not interesting enough?
They're interesting, but the game is just too long.
Okay.
The stages are too long, and there are too many stages, and there's not a consistent character development that is taking place. The way it feels, and I could be totally wrong because I'm not an expert on the game development process, but the way it feels to me is as though they set out with 10 or 15 or however many zones they are, and they set out with 10 to 15 teams and said, create unique gameplay elements and create a whole bunch of puzzles for people to solve, and then they just put them all in an order that kind of felt good. And so that's why you're going through this develop, back to zero. Develop, back to zero. It's like playing Zelda games. It's like playing all the Zelda games back to back, where for whatever reason, from one moment to the next, Link suddenly has amnesia and lost all of his and you're starting over again. And it really just feels like that. I'm talking about It Takes Two.